Hey guys, so yeah, you already know what's coming when we start out like this. We're going to be talking about a new pair of sunglasses today, a brand new launch from AO, even though it's not actually a brand new launch. This is a relaunch of a classic. They've changed a few very minor details. That comes down to sizing more than anything, but I'll save all that for the fun part. Let's dive into it and check out the brand new Sirmont by AO. So if you've been a fan of sunglasses for any length of time, no doubt the pair that Malcolm X wore, the famous AO Sarmont, absolutely is a hugely sought after piece by most collectors, at least the real vintage one. Maybe this one has the chops, maybe it doesn't. We'll let you guys decide that. I'm not here to decide that, at least not today anyways. So the new Sirmont has taken the classic. They pulled the shape from the archives. They kept the shape pretty well true to original. There's not any huge change there. I don't have a vintage original in my hand to compare, but I'd be happy to do that sometime if someone has one laying around. I promise you we will take care of it and polish it and make it pretty. This one, they have changed the sizing a little bit. So the original sizes, you had three size options. There were a 48i, 49i, and a 50i from memory. Something around that. Maybe it was 46, 48, 50, anyway. And the bridge was 20 millimeters. So now the new one, we have a 51-21, which is noted right in here. So it's a little bit larger, as I mentioned initially, because heads are a little bit larger these days overall. Maybe we're smarter, or maybe not. The overall design is really good. It stays true to the original. Of course, I went with the black and silver just to kind of show off the very vintage look in this one. They've even kept the wingtip look here. I would love to see the shield return to the rest of the AO collection, but I don't suspect we'll see that happen. But you can see it's beautifully detailed there. Of course, you've still got your AO logo in the lens. I will say the acetate on this one, I'm not quite as thrilled with as some of the others. There's a few little pits in it, and I don't know if that's just, you know, this is one of the earlier models. I know it's not been big around in the shop. I opened it yesterday. I brought it down for the video today, so it's not been beat up, so to speak. But we do have just a few little pits and divots, and maybe I'm just pickier these days. After working with luxury stuff for so long, I get stuff like this in my hand, and, you know, it costs a third of the price. I'm just absurdly picky. So for the price point, it's great. But, so as I mentioned also, Malcolm X wore this style back in the heyday, and back then it was known as a browline style. The reason it is a browline style is because you've got these accentuated pieces across the brow line. Simple enough, right? A lot of manufacturers have done a lot of different things with that browline style over the years. Perhaps one of the most famous, if not the most famous, is the Sirmont. I'd say a very close second is going to be the Ranceur by Chiron. I know that one was super popular back in the movie days because they supplied a lot of those to filmmakers, so it was pretty much everywhere. As far as weight, balance, feel, you know, this one's pretty good on the face. I don't have it fitted for me. As you notice, it was already slipping down a little bit right there. If your sunglasses do that, we've got another video for that. Hit the maintenance and care section and dive into that because you need it more than you think. But the nose pads are pretty standard silicone pieces here. They do have a metal insert in there, which I find interesting. I actually did not notice that initially. It's not a metal insert, it's just a plastic insert with a weird shape on it. Maybe there's some reason for that, maybe there's not. I don't know if you can quite make it out on here, but we do have that little lined detailing inside the nose pad. Interesting, it is what it is. So the hinges, we actually have the 5-barrel hinges. They did not keep the 7-barrel hinge for this design. I suspect the overall width here, this is too narrow to try and keep that 7 and keep that original flared tip of the original style. But when it comes to cool factor, I have a hard time arguing with this frame. I think retail wise, we're around $250 on these guys. It's sitting a little bit high, so, you know, few little tweaks to make it right for me. You can see how cool of a style this is. It's just that classic dark black look. You got some nice detailing in the bridge here, all true to the original style. As I mentioned, the detailing in the little wingtip style here, not mounted entirely flush, as I was just scratching my finger on that. So, you know, details and things and production that I would absolutely cuss about on a $900 frame are probably not fair to yell and tell you guys to complain about on a $200 frame. But one thing I think is really, really interesting, it's a super subtle detail, and I really like that they did it. Over here on the AO temple side, you'll see my little sticker, but more importantly, you will see that we have that really big, bold, white, firm, clean font, right? Well, the other side is not the same story, and I want to say that's an intentional design thing. If it is not, it is a really, really great accident, because it has kind of that older look and feel to it. You know, it doesn't look quite like it's brand new. The white isn't perfect in every spot. You know, it's a little thicker here, it's a little thinner there. It's just looks older. It doesn't look as modern perfect as you would expect from a laser etching and white paint on newer frames. I really want to think that was an intentional design feature and not an accident. And I really hope that's true, because I like that little touch. Now, that's it. There's not much more to say about these. Really cool look, really classic and true to the vintage original style. Just nice and clean, fairly light on the face. I will say this one doesn't feel super nicely balanced, but I think that's a little bit more at not being properly fitted for me, because again, it's slipping down a little bit, which means we're high back here to begin with, which is going to make it a little more front heavy. Once that's adjusted and fixed, it's not a ton of room for that adjustment there actually, so I'm not sure. But for a few hours, quick little drive down, hang around the park, chat with your friends, whatever. It's a clean classic go-to. I mean, you cannot go wrong with this. I always say everyone should have at least that one just basic nuts and bolts type pair of sunglasses. And this is a really good one to have in the collection for that. It's really versatile, really easy to wear in a lot of different situations. Dresses up really nicely if you want it to. Obviously, these were worn with suits back in the day, so there you go. Can't argue with that too much. I mean, you probably could. I just don't know that it would do you any good to. I won't let it do any good. So there you go. Check it out. If you want one of these, I'll have a link down in the comments. You can get it from my shop. Of course, I would love if you do that, because it helps keep the channel going. If you're new here, hit that like and subscribe button for me. And outside of that, I'll catch you guys next time.